This is the book of Sirach, also known as the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 37, verse 2. Is it not a grief unto death when a companion and a friend is turned to an enemy? Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai is his son who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who ruled well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai's sake. I'm Brother Samak from the GMS Miami camp. And yes, the reason why I brought out the book of Sirach, also known as the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 37, verse 2, is that several European countries had a meeting in Munich, Germany, regarding their own nuclear deterrence without America. Okay? And this is biblical prophecy speaking. All right? The beast shall hate the whore. And that's why I brought out the book of Sirach, also known as the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 37, verse 2. I'll read it one more time. Is it not of grief unto death when a companion and friend is turned to an enemy? Right. And a good example is NATO. You know, NATO consists of the European Union as well as America, which is part of NATO, Canada, and Turkey. They're part of NATO, but those three are not part of the European Union. Okay? But, for many years, many decades, they were allies. They were together. But now, okay, a lot of European countries can't trust America. All right? They have lost confidence in America. All right? Meaning, no longer friends. All right? Turn to an enemy. Okay? And you can thank this administration with that whole Greenland situation. And of course, again, Donald Trump has always been saying this, even when he was Trump 45. He believes that several NATO members, specifically those in Europe, all right, have not been pulling their own weight regarding financing NATO. Okay? So this is creating a division. And once again, this is biblical prophecy being fulfilled. Satan's house is truly divided. Okay? And a house divided cannot stand. All right? These Edomites are at each other's necks. So, let me get this one too. Proverbs chapter 27, verse 6. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. NLT, wounds from a sincere friend are better than many kisses from an enemy, right? Because when you read this article, all right, on one end, several European countries are talking about having their own nuclear deterrence and hosting France and Great Britain's nuclear weapons in their country, while at the same time saying, but we're going to keep our NATO Article 5 agreement intact. Okay? So basically, they're deceiving America. Okay? Because America's nuclear weapons was chosen to be hosted in these European countries. So, yeah, man. So basically, what these European countries are doing, they're giving America the kiss of death. All right, being very deceitful, and that's biblical, because in the book of Obadiah, I'm gonna get to the point, verse 7, and this is coming out more and more because again, we're in these times, we're in prophecy. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. You see that? Okay? And prevailed against thee. All right? Because, again, America's nuclear weapons were being hosted in several European countries, as well as a NATO ally like Turkey. Okay? So, hey, it's getting spicy, man. But and Turkey can't stand them JJs, and Turkey, all right, is gonna join with the Arab nations, okay, and of course has. Oh, I forgot to say this. Turkey's been buying Russian weaponry for many years. So yeah, and Turkey's a part of NATO, and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding right. And that bread, okay, is talking about the American dollar, And I like to bring this out over and over again. Okay, have European countries been selling U.S. bonds? Yep, U.S. Treasury bonds. Yep. Some European investors, notably Nordic pension funds like Electa and Academiker Pension, have recently sold or reduced their U.S. Treasury bonds due to concerns over U.S. debt, policy unpredictability, geopolitical risk. Right. Again, the nukes. However, Europe remains a massive holder of U.S. debt, $3.6 trillion, making a widespread rapid sell-off unlikely, as it would likely cause severe financial market disruptions and damage European balance sheets. Right, but there's going to be a point where they're not going to give a damn about that. All right, and they're going to dump, okay, these treasury bonds into the market. Okay, and there has been talks of doing more selling of treasury bonds. Yeah, Swedish and Denmark was selling theirs, and it makes sense why Denmark was selling it because of the whole Trump saying he was going to take Greenland by force. All right, his stout was more than his fellows. Let me get that because Donald Trump, okay, is with that iron fist, and that's causing a big division in NATO members, where now they're talking about doing their own nuclear deterrence, right? So let me get the stout. Where is it at? No, it's not. This is a good one too. Daniel chapter 2 verse 40. Okay. And regarding NATO is these European countries, Europe, which is part of NATO, they're divided. Okay, politically, economically. All right, and that's why they're going to just come together militarily and just destroy America. But where is it at? It's in Stout Fellow. Fellows with an S. Yep, here we go. So let me start at the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 19. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast. Fourth beast represents Rome, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron and his nails of brass, which devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with his feet, right? When Rome came into power, they dominated, okay, these nations, all right, and turned them into vassals. Just like America has dominated the whole globe and turned a lot of these nations into vassals, okay? Nothing new under the sun. That's how we know America is the extended Roman Empire. 20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, there we go. So the 10 horns that were in the fourth beast's head, which proves that, okay, these are European countries, okay, came out of the ancient Roman Empire, all right? And they're foreigning the image of the beast, which is Rome. And of the other which came up, and before whom three fell, right? This is talking about over here in what they call the so-called New World, right? Spain, France, and Great Britain. They fell, okay, to America's America's hand, for lack of better words, right? You had the Spanish-American War, you had the Revolutionary War, and then you had the quasi-wars. The quasi-wars between France and America, all right? And that's how America was able to get this territory, okay? Either by iron fist, okay, or by buying territory, cheaply, like the Louisiana Purchase, because France was in so much debt from all these wars that they were in. Even of that horn that had eyes, talking about America, and a mouth that spake very great things. Right now, when you go into very great things, all right, it goes into chief, all right, and power, right? The Hebrew word is rob, all right, which means great figure of power, captain, chief, or domineering. Check this word out. Asserting one's will over another in an arrogant way, right? And this is what's causing the division between America and its NATO allies. The beast shall hate the whore, because of America being, okay, arrogant, okay, overbearing, right? Listen to Donald Trump, high-handed, arrogant, haughty, right? Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall, right? Masterful, coercive, all right? Twisting the arms of the European countries, and they're sick of it. That's why they're doing their own nuclear deterrent, all right? Controlling, Europe's tired of being a vassal to America. Oppressive, okay? Harsh. All right? Not only not only is America was threatening, to take Greenland, all right, they've been constantly creating turmoils all throughout the world, especially the so-called Middle East, which created a whole bunch of influx of migrants into Europe because of the wars. All right, because of America's ongoing wars that have been, like, as Donald Trump said, forever wars, or wars that don't end, which oppresses, all right, people. Okay, that's another thing, and it caused Europe damage because Europe's closer to the Middle East, and Europe had to take in all these migrants, which was creating all hell in their country. All right, and you can thank America and them JJs for that. So that's why the European countries can't stand America. All right. So yeah, it's getting spicy. I want to bring this out too. So check this out. It says Trump has questioned NATO's Common Defense Article 5 provision, ridiculed Allied contributions to less war in Afghanistan. Right, so Trump is bitter about the U.S.-led war in Afghanistan, where NATO didn't pull their own weight. and repeatedly called for annexing Greenland, part of NATO member Denmark. That's leading Europe to hunt for what officials call another layer of insurance against Moscow, right? And this is this is very deceitful, all right? They're using Russia as a cloak, okay? It's really they don't trust America anymore, okay? Because America threatened them, and America is upset of the Afghanistan wars, that Europe didn't pull their own weight, didn't put money in. Yeah. So yeah, it's going down, man. In practice, check this out. That means turning to France and UK, Europe's only nuclear powers. Okay? Unlike London, Paris is not part of NATO's nuclear planning group, which discussed the use of nuclear force through the alliance. French presidents have underlined that France's national interests have a European dimension, while stressing that any launch decision rests purely with Paris. Right? So Paris basically saying we can do our own thing. All right, we don't fall under this NATO nuclear planning group. So you're clearly seeing there's a divide, man. Okay, if France, if they wanted to launch a nuke, they can do it on their own. They don't need NATO nuclear planning group. All right, and again, hey, this is that Proverbs chapter 27 verse 6. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Right? Okay, it's interesting how France basically saying, yo, we could do whatever we want with our nukes, all right? And France, their culture is based on, love and romance, right? So this is very interesting in itself. So yeah, so this is the kiss from death from France, okay? That's it. I mean, you can read this article. Hey, Satan's house is divided. All right, you're clearly seeing a division, all right, amongst NATO members, and it's all part of prophecy. The beast shall hate the whore, right? Revelation chapter 17, verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. The whore is America, Babylon the Great, all right, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Check out the AMP version. I thought this was pretty interesting. And the 10 horns which you saw, and the beast, these will hate the prostitute, and will make her desolate and naked, stripped of her power and influence, and will eat her flesh and completely consume her with fire. Right? See that? So these European countries that are part of NATO, they're going to strip America of her power and influence. And last one, 2nd Esdras chapter 16, verse 13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, his arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss, when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. Right? And what can do that? Nuclear weapons. So not only America has to worry about Russian nuclear weapons, Chinese nuclear weapons, okay, North Korea's nuclear weapons, all right, also their allies' nuclear weapons, like France and Great Britain. And, okay, a lot of these European countries, they're going to start hosting France and Great Britain. Something's going to happen where Great Britain's like, yep, you can host our nuclear weapons too, which means that is a straight up, all right, middle finger to America, because America's nuclear weapons were the ones being hosted in these different European countries. So a lot of things are changing. Again, Satan's house is divided. All right. So with that, Lord, ones, let's edify. I want to give all praise and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai's sake. Love you, brothers. Keep it there. Keep the faith. Keep pushing. Keep fighting. Keep studying. Pray without ceasing. Pray for each other. Pray for the apostles, elders. Romans out of here. To the fuses that are watching, keep studying. When you pray, pray, it should cover. Shalom.